Good morning. Hello, hello. Oop, can you guys hear me? Cool. Hello. Trent, can you say something so that I can hear you?
Yes.
There we go. Perfect. I just want to make sure I can hear everyone.
Good deal.
All right. Hello. Hi, everyone. There we go. Everyone's logging in. It's 10 o'clock. Hope everyone's warm. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
We're just kind of waiting for everyone to get on right now. Usually I have Kate help me out and admit people. Um, let's see. Who wants to help me out today and admit some people as they come in? Oh, there's Kate. She must have heard me. Kate, I'm gonna give you ability to, wow, you're sideways. I love it. All right, there we go. All right, can you admit people as they come in, Kate, for me, please?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
I don't know why I'm sideways, but that's about right for me, so it's fine.
I was gonna say you have so many issues with Zoom, it's hilarious.
My laptop hates me.
All right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you guys here today. A lot of the same faces I'm seeing. One new one. What's up, Jordan? Welcome to the Mastermind.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Good, very
Good.
good. So today we have a couple of things, but the mastermind for the third week of the month is always going to be something about operations. So business operations in general. And that's like a huge term, right? It could be anything. Operations could we could swallow ourselves whole when we talk about operations of our business. But we have a special guest today who's going to kind of run the mastermind, and I wanted to introduce her and kind of let you guys get to know her a little bit. But Lauren Duke, raise your hand, Lauren.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. We're super excited to have you on this call today and, run the meeting. So, just to give you guys a little bit of background about Lauren, she's the founder of a company called CoreOps Collective. It's a coaching company, but she basically comes in and helps real estate agents with their operations side of their business. And shout out to Lindsay, who's not on this call, but I remember Lindsay telling me months and months and months ago that she needed an operations manager, an operations director in her business. And she has been talking about how great Lauren is for the longest time and how she couldn't wait to hire her. But since Lauren knows everything about everything operations, she's going to dive into something specific for us today and kind of run this meeting for us and ask some questions. And again, this is not for any one person to talk. We want everyone to pitch in, jump in, let's talk about it, and go from there. So, Lauren, why don't you go ahead and get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then in your mind or your words, what operations really is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole. I'm so excited to be here this morning. I am the former COO of a top 10 mega team. And the team that I started with, we were in one location with 4 agents. And in 4 years, we grew it to 21 locations across the US with over 150 agents. And we did 3,000 transactions in the time that I was there. So we were insanely, insanely busy. And I am humble enough to say that I made every single mistake possible when it comes to operations. I think over the course of my time there, we probably had about somewhere around 40 to 50 various admin come and go. And each time, it wasn't really until the end that I was like, oh, these people like can also be profitable for us. They don't just have to like do the tasks that we want them to do, but they can truly be an extension of the business. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is how to have a profitable admin or how to hire an admin if you don't think that you can afford one. So I want to ask who here has an admin, whether they're in-house, a virtual assistant, or whatever. Okay, I can only see a couple hands. So if you have an admin, put it into the chat if you're not able to have your video on. And who here hopes to have an admin at any point in time? Okay, okay. What
Few
is your
people raise their hands.
Yes. What is your biggest holdup when it comes to hiring one? If anyone wants to unmute.
Yeah, I'll
Go
talk.
for it, Laura or Trent.
Yeah, I'll talk real quick. Just basically, I came off of me and another guy merged teams and everything for about 2 years and so. So coming off of that, it's just rebuilding my own business because I ran the team and did all the meetings, all that fun stuff. So it's coming off of that, just rebuilding and just getting set back up in my process and
Yeah.
sales, all that fun stuff.
Okay. Okay. So, do you have a good foundation of what you want them to do?
Do as in what? Like for the admin's work or?
Yeah, like what do you want off your plate?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just all the typical paperwork stuff, checking the boxes type items. I had admin before, and then I ran an office, and then we merged, and we had like 4 or 5 admin on our team. So I got a good concept of what I want to do. It's just finding the right admin, doing that whole hiring process.
Okay. Okay.
I
Would you
feel
say
like, Lauren, if you don't mind me asking or jumping in and saying, I feel like one of the biggest things that people say to me when it comes to hiring an admin is like they feel like it'd be more work to give them work to do. Because like when they run out of a task and be like, okay, well, what do I do next? And so like people don't want the responsibility of constantly like taking care of the admin or making sure they have things to do.
there's literally nothing worse than someone you are paying saying, I don't know what to do. I don't have anything to do.
Right.
Because you're like, what do you mean? Wait, what? And that's why we're at CoreOps, we're really big on making sure that when you're hiring someone, you have those expectations set up to be an extension of you, to be in those same Facebook groups that you're networking with other agents to bring in more agent to agent referrals or implementing that client care, past client touch plan that you've been sitting on forever. So for those of you that do have an admin, what do they do for you right now?
Laura, I want to hear from you.
I have a transaction coordinator, but I don't have an admin. I hired a VA and then I ended up letting her go because it was tricky. It's really hard to delegate, and I feel like if I'm going to delegate, you have to delegate like right now. I can breathe this minute, but I won't be able to breathe in another couple weeks. You know what I mean? So like I feel like if you don't hop on it and get somebody going that and make sure that they know every little detail that they're going to have to do, then it's just going to be worthless. Because, like you said, the worst thing is to have somebody say, I don't know what to do. But my problem is I want somebody to edit videos. I want somebody to shoot videos. I want somebody, you know what I mean? I feel like I have like this big long list of things that I want someone to do. It's just finding someone to do it. Or like, I want them to run my Lofty. I want them to get leads from my Lofty. You know what I mean? And then what's Lofty? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
So many people ask me, like, oh, should I start with a virtual assistant? And I think that overseas VAs in particular are really good for a very specific purpose. Like if you wanted a VA to take the drip campaigns that you already have created with the
Mm.
specific steps and everything so like
Mapped
detailed.
out. It has to be
Yes.
completely mapped out. Or
Yes,
else
exactly.
it is like, what? Nope, we don't say things that way, or we don't know.
Yeah.
Some of
I
my
mean,
social media stuff, I was like, oh,
yeah, even for me
that
myself,
is not me.
I think I've gone through like I think I've tried a VA maybe twice. And each time I'm like, why am I wasting this? Why am I doing this? What am I
Mhm.
doing? Because even for like an operations person like myself, you have to be so incredibly detailed where having someone in-house that gets to know your work ethic and personality style and how you say things, you know, we there's a bunch of us operations people who have a community together, and one of our resources in the community is a chat GPT prompt on how to communicate better and like your CEO. And it's so incredibly helpful. So okay, so Laura, you also said something, having it all mapped out, making sure that they know exactly what to do because in 2 weeks you're not going to be able to answer questions and all of that. So if you were to bring an admin on, do you have any idea how you would go about like setting all of that up?
No clue.
Okay. 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 So let's walk through that. What I like to do is, first of all, do you have like a mission statement and a vision statement? Because if you're bringing someone into your business and you don't know where it's headed, you can't properly tell someone else how to help you get there. So having the standards and expectations set up is huge, right? Like make sure you do this, make sure you do that. We're going to be posting to social media X times a week. We're going to be, auditing the CRM to find all these missed opportunities X times a week. But for what? Because if you don't know where it's headed, how can you properly communicate that?
I
So,
feel like I'm sorry, Laura, no, Lauren. I
no,
there's a clarity thing I want to say here, and I think like when it comes to business operations in general, like I think the biggest hurdle besides not knowing what to tell an admin to do is because agents don't quite know what to do for themselves first. And that's the hardest part is like, so what is operations and agents that have all of these things on their plate, how can they set that up? Like you said, a vision, knowing your vision statement, knowing your mission statement is like the first thing you want to do when you create a business. But then what does your operations consist of? Is it emailing? Is it social media? Is it, smart plans in your email? Is it, you know, photos, video? Like, do we have a plan ourselves for how we operate our businesses? And then from there, you go about hiring an admin. You see what I'm saying? Does anybody know what I'm saying? Like it's like we don't even know. We don't even have it all
yeah,
down straight yet. So like how can we tell someone else to do it? So how do we
yeah.
start with ourselves first?
So actually, I have a little resource that I can throw into the chat. But it's essentially it's a simple Google spreadsheet where it's like a time audit, right? And you're writing down like, hey, this is all the stuff that I did today. And then categorizing it by what was the purpose for it? Was it lead gen? Was it, marketing, paperwork, blah, 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 blah. And then was it draining? Or did it give me energy? And so operations can consist of whatever you want it to be. If you don't like going into your CRM and finding opportunities, then hand that off. But if you are someone who likes to go through and see when someone has last been on the website or when they last opened an email or whatever, then hang on to that. So I think that it can consist of whatever it is that you want to delegate. It's so hard to like put someone's business in a box and say, this is exactly what your admin needs to do for you. Because if you were to tell me that, my admin should have full control of my calendar, I would probably have a mental breakdown because no, thank you. I know what it is.
So how do you determine what, actually, I'm going to pull Laura Vandervaart into this. I'm sorry, Laura. I want to ask you. So like, how did you determine Laura has an admin that works in her office in person with her? Her name's Jordan. How did you determine Jordan's roles and responsibilities versus what you could do for your team versus what she does for your team?
Um, so when I first met Jordan, she was on a team I was on, and she was the marketer. And so I knew I needed her to do marketing stuff. So that is like that was the first and foremost. And I just sat and thought, because I'm a control freak, I thought, okay, what do I feel okay? And this is no offense to Jordan, if it isn't perfectly done. Like what can be done that's off my plate that it doesn't have to be Laura. So then we kind of made that list. And I think Jordan will attest that that list just continues to grow.
Hi, Jordan.
But she does, so I think that just determined looking at what her strengths were. So she actually has helped with Lofty Smart Plans. And I think just the years working together, she knows me, what I would say in a situation. And kind of that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to like you noted on strengths. And I think
Mhm.
that's what Lauren Duke is talking about too, is like, when you're hiring somebody for a role, you have to figure out what your weaknesses are and hire somebody who has strengths in that area. But first determining what those things are in your operations. Am I right, Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like if follow up is something that you're not good at, have someone come in after you and do the follow up. Or if
And
you're
what
not
about
good at tracking the numbers, have someone else do it. Who
what
enjoys
about
it?
for people who like want an admin who does a little bit of everything? Do those exist? Like people who do social media and they can call and they can take care of a CRM and they can, you know what I mean? Like do the admins exist where they have the personality profile to do a little bit of everything?
They are absolute unicorns and they do exist. And the people that find them, they hang on to them for dear life. They never let them go. Um, However, you can also create one. You can
How do you do that?
pour into someone that is so willing to soak up all of the knowledge, right? When I first started my business, I needed help desperately, but I couldn't afford someone who could work 40 hours a week doing all of the things that needed to be done, right? So we started with one area and then we developed into another and developed into another. And now we're like this close for me to be able to be like, here's my calendar, but not yet.
Not there yet.
Just not yet, right?
So
But go ahead.
how would somebody go about, I saw a couple people commenting on here, is affordability. So how, I think that's where you were going next with it, Lauren, was like, how, if I wanted to hire an admin to take some things off my plate, but also bring income in,
Mhm.
how do I do that if I can't quite afford it yet? How can I bring in the money automatically?
Have them set up at a base salary that you can afford with production bonuses.
Explain.
So if you can afford, if you're looking to go hire a virtual assistant overseas and you got a quote and it's $1,000 a month and you're going to get 40 hours a week and whatever, you may end up getting 10 hours a week total from them, like worth of work, I would say in quotes, um, from that VA just because you're going to have to explain things a little bit further. You're going to have to map it out a little bit more. You're going to like waste time because they're going to be waiting on you for questions and whatnot. Um, so I looked at it for my own business. I looked at it as, okay, I can afford someone for 10 hours a week, or I can afford someone for 40 hours a week, but I'm getting the same same quality of work, I guess I would say. So I went with the person that I could physically see right here in-house and made it an expectation that they were to also go and spread the word about the business and learn how to communicate like me. So they're making comments on Facebook pages and responding to emails that come through or website leads, whatever it is. And then when those turned into clients, gave a production bonus.
Okay.
It's finding the person who believes in the mission too.
So
I
how
have
do
a
you
question.
hire? Go ahead.
And this may be slightly off topic. What if you're someone who is like me, and there may be a few other people like me, where you have a hard time relinquishing control because we all chose this profession because we like to be our own boss and because we don't want to answer to anyone else. So how do you find that balance between finding what tasks it is that you're willing to give up versus still maintaining that need for control, I guess.
I also have a need for control, and it was hard at first, but realizing that A, done is better than perfect, and B, there's 1,000 ways to get from point A to B. My way is not always the right way. Your way is not always the right way. Someone else can come in and have a much better idea that you may not have even thought about before. So getting out of that, having your blinders up, getting out of that mindset and realizing that the more people that you trust, that understand the business, that understand you, the more people that are on your side, that are contributing to building this with you, the further you're going to go. The whole rising tides raise all ships quote.
So how do you find that person then?
I like to use the DISC assessment.
Oh, let's talk about that, please. I freaking love the disc assessment. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love the disc. And Lauren, I don't know if you have a link for it. If anybody wants to take the disc assessment so they know what they are, there's a free version, but there's also a $50 version. I highly advise you get it. But Tony Robbins, just Google Tony Robbins disc assessment, and go in there and take it and pay the $50 for the full report. You won't regret it. Best thing ever. Go ahead, Lauren.
And if someone you're wanting to bring on doesn't know what they are, pay it for them too. If you are like,
Mhm.
hey, we're getting towards the end of this little interview process, whatever, pay the $50 for them as well, because it's going to be so eye-opening on how they want to be communicated with and what their work style is. I'm also big on workplace love languages too. That goes along with it. But what did you ask me? I've totally spaced. Why did I bring that up?
She asked about relinquishing control, and then I asked about how to find that right person, and you said start
Okay.
with the disc. But other than the disc, what do? You post a job thing on Indeed, or do you post to Facebook, or is the right person local, somebody that's going to come into the office if you have one, or meet locally, or is it somebody online far away? You tell me.
Depends on what your needs are, honestly. And that's not a cop-out answer. It truly is dependent on what your needs are. If you need someone to go put signs in the yards or to, be a runner helping with pop buys, or you need someone to be there for your community events, then obviously you need someone in person. My business is completely virtual, which is very different from, being a real estate agent. So both of the people that, well, all three of the people that work for me are not here.
Right.
Two are in Colorado, one is in North Carolina, and I'm in Florida. So you started this call with, is everyone staying warm? And yes, thank you, I am.
Ah. So can
But
we, sorry, you go ahead. Keep going.
no, but what I was going to say is like, yes, sure, you can post on Indeed. I don't recommend it. Um, you can post on Facebook. That's probably where you're going to have the best luck because it is usually the friend of a friend or like, hey, my cousin's looking for work, or um, I'm a military spouse, and so military spouses, well, they are always looking for a stay-at-home position, and they will work their tails off for you.
So what's like an average pay for an admin or an executive
Again,
admin?
depends on what you want, right? I have director of operations friends that make, you know, 80 grand a year. I have director of operations friends that make 60 grand a year. I have executive assistant friends that make 32 grand a year. And like full transparency, I started my EA at $1,000 a month and production bonuses.
So $1,000 a month for 40 hours of work a week?
No,
Okay, 10 hours.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, roughly like 8 to 12-ish hours, right? Like I want to make
Mhm.
sure they're not um, getting totally screwed.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm an obviously pro ops girl. So um that was like the minimum for me was okay, this plus a production bonus.
So how do you determine a production bonus?
So what is the minimum that you need to bring in order to keep the doors open? Is that 2 transactions a month? Is that 1 transaction a quarter? What are your overhead costs, right? And once you go over that minimum, I like to do, I mean, it's so hard because there's like so many variables with GCI and all of that, but I like to just do a flat rate production bonus. So if let's just easy math, you need 1 transaction a month to keep the doors open, to make sure that you're eating, bills are paid, all of that, and you get two, then a small, maybe 300, whatever it looks like, whatever you can afford, whatever feels comfortable with you, bonus to that person. When I was on my real estate team before, we had, 150 agents. We were doing a gazillion transactions a month. My salary there as a director of operations was $1,000 a month and $200 per file. But I mean, we were doing a lot of files a month. So it was it was worth it for me to be working like 80 plus hours a week, which please don't do that. That's
Right.
another topic discussion. Please don't do that.
Can we talk about, just so I can hear some other voices, and for everyone on this call, you guys know me. If you haven't said anything yet, I'm gonna call on you. So keep that in mind. But can we talk about maybe if each person in here can go over one or two things or just say one or two things if they had an admin, what they would like that admin to do? And maybe type it in the chat too. But I want to hear your voices. So yeah, I'm gonna pick someone. Anna, girl, if you had, yes, I'm picking on you. If you had an admin, what's
That's me.
one or two things that you would
Well,
have that admin do?
I used a TC when I first got started, and it really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm.
Um, so um, I don't think I want anybody else touching my paperwork, at least not yet, until I'm like busier. I'm not busy enough to like be overwhelmed with it, but I like knowing exactly what's happening and not having to micromanage it. So my answer, I think, is honestly mostly like lead gen, just to like if possible, maybe like send people to me without me having to like follow dead ends. I'd rather somebody else follow dead ends and send me down possible roads.
Okay. Lead gen. I
Yeah.
think that's probably one of the bigger ones. Everybody wants lead
Yeah.
gen.
Would
PC
that
is
be
interesting
like
though too.
would that be like following up with past clients or like maintaining or
Yeah.
building SOI?
Both probably, yeah, because that's something that I feel I do struggle with right now. I've been most of my business thus far has just been my immediate sphere of influence and personal referrals. So yeah, getting out there more with strangers, if you will.
Yeah.
Love it.
So yeah.
Swag. Yeah, you. I can't help it.
Uh,
What's if you have an admin, one thing that they do, if not one thing you'd prefer for an admin
yeah,
to do?
I mean, like I'm a newer agent. I just got my license a couple months ago. But I mean, one thing I would look for is definitely like my back end stuff, helping me with my paperwork and just like outreach, right? So like doing the stuff I don't want to do, like finding me community events, seeing what's going on in the area, finding new photographers or things like that going on. Just minute tasks that don't generate income for me that need to be done that I could delegate.
Okay. So it's a lot, but it's actually very simple. So I hear what you're saying.
Yep.
Kate, I know you're on here. I'm sorry, not Kate Herb, Kate McMinn. Kate McMinn. I know a Kate McKinnon, so it's like it's very hard for me, but Kate McMinn, how about you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
I think for me, I'm an investor friendly agent. So pulling and scrubbing lists for mailers and cold calling to try to find opportunities. That's a huge help. It's just time consuming and trying to find contact information. So I've actually paid a VA to do that in the past, but had some similar issues with just having to spend too much time on instructions, not following instructions, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think lead gen's huge. Help with mailers, structuring um, newsletters and stuff, so that all I have to do is just review it and press send and make a few adjustments. Helping with templates for social media, for marketing, for all of that. Just basically anything you can structure that I can come in and fine tune and just press send on.
That's what
I
we
feel like
have our TC do with listings. It's kind of the same thing. Like we'll have our TC input the listing, input the photos and everything, but we never have them hit the go button. We always do the final check. So that's like actually when we were talking about control and like letting go of control, that's one like quality checkpoint or like what's the word I'm thinking of? Where you put something in place to prevent
Like
anything bad
quality
happen.
control?
Yeah, like a quality control type of thing where like if you're working on letting go of control, and you're not quite ready yet, you can have them do all of the upfront and then you come in and do that final like check through and that balance. And the more you do that, the more they're going to learn what you like, but it's also going to allow you to build trust with your admin at the same time. Am I right, Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking to myself, oh yeah, that's exactly what we do like with our emails. I'm very particular about how our emails are sent out. If you ever read one of mine, you're reading it as if I'm saying it. And so, you know, ChatGPT obviously is huge these days. And if they give me an email and I'm like, what, nobody says that, right?
Right.
Like I can go through and make sure that nothing is being sent out. And so that's a perfect way to make sure that like the actual task is getting done, but it's hitting your standards.
I love it. Matt Mitchell, what's one thing you would have an admin do?
Muted. Okay, good. I don't know if I've got anything really creative to add to this. I like what Holly said in the chat about the email and the marketing campaigns and social media and stuff like that. I know I'm paying a third-party service right now to kind of keep my social media going. I just brought on my first agent this past week, and she's really good with Canva and really excited about social media. So I'm still very much in that point, everything has changed for me over the past 6 months, right? I was on a team and came back to, and my team split up. We came back to Real, started my own team actually officially as of this past Friday.
Woohoo!
Got everything filed with Real. I have a brand new agent who just got licensed, and so I am very much in this process right now of just trying to figure everything out. I wish I were doing enough business that I could justify hiring an assistant or a, a TC or anything like that. But just really trying to put it all together right now. So I don't know. That's kind of all I have on that.
No, I appreciate that. And you actually bring up a good point, and I'm going to bounce it back to Lauren here in a second, but um, I think the idea of having an admin or an executive assistant or an operations manager is to allow you to make more money and do more business. And the disconnect there is, and kind of like what Lauren was saying, was I can't afford somebody full time, but I can't afford someone to do 10 hours a week for me. So how
Mm.
can I fill that 10 hours a week with so much stuff that it brings me the business that I need? Right, Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
100%.
a chicken and egg situation for sure.
Right.
Do I spend the
Yes.
money? Do I spend the money to bring in the business, or do I have the business to be able to spend the money?
Yeah. Yeah. And, just like Hannah said, there are times where you get burned, right? And that's incredibly unfortunate. And that's where we all tend to get those control issues.
Mhm.
But that's also why the interview process and going through that disc assessment and making sure that they're the right hire is incredibly important. I heard a statistic probably about a year ago, so I'm sure with inflation it's changed a bit, but the wrong hire can cost you upwards of $25,000. And that's absolutely insane, right? But I'm sure we've all been in a situation, whether it was like your first job or recently, where the wrong person was in the role and it affected you somehow. That's why, I mean, the interview process, making sure that you're not just saying, oh, I need help, and the first person that raises their hand is who you hire, which coincidentally is exactly what happened with me with my EA, but I knew her before. She had worked for me before. So it did work out. We're okay. But as I'm saying
Lauren,
that, I'm like, I'm kind of a hypocrite right now.
well, that's what we say to buyers in the first house that they see. Usually it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it's the very first house that that buyer sees that they end up buying. Um, do you happen to have another link of like just a tasks list of something that admins can do for you? Because I feel like we've talked about a lot of things that we've all like lead generation, email marketing, social media, but there's got to be a list that's a bit more specific that can jog our minds and think, oh, I didn't even think about that. And these are things that we can implement in our own businesses first as well. The
Yes,
other
I'm gonna write
thing,
that down to look up. And while Matt was talking, I something popped in my head, and if I don't write things down, I will forget them forever. But someone like an admin can come in and start tracking KPIs and your stats and all of that. So like who right now is tracking your pipeline and your income? How do you know what's coming in so that you know whether or not you can afford to keep the doors open? How do you know what's coming in so you know if like, yeah, I can go and invest in this lead gen source, or I can go and totally, you know, pay the however much it is to get Lofty built out for me. How do you know that? Like what's coming in? What are your expenses? I had a one-on-one coaching client who I had been working with, her building up her operations skills, developing her, whatever. And she ended up getting a new job with a small boutique brokerage. Within the first 30 days, she was able to cut $3,500 out of their expenses. And that, like, it sounds like I'm lying. I promise you I'm not. I can literally show you the whole thing if you want me to. It was insane because she was paying for 2 CRMs that she had no idea she was paying for. They had like all of the seats and the pro package and the, premium, whatever it is. These big expensive things when all they needed was like the basic package. Do you have to pay for the most expensive email marketing platform, or can you get away with the free version for a second and it just says like sent with MailChimp? It's not that embarrassing, I
Right.
promise.
I
So,
love it.
yes, while we're talking, I'll grab like a job description. I think I have a bunch of stuff. Honestly, what do you want? Because I have it all.
Well, I was just thinking like, yeah, just a list of activities that an admin can do for you. Like a generalized, obviously not every admin can do everything on that list, but like just a list of things that an admin can do to take things off your plate, an unlicensed person. The other thing I was thinking, and this is something, so I've been in the industry for 10 years now, and I just finished developing, and I'm still tuning it, but I just finished developing my operations manual, which is interesting to me because I don't know how I operated my business without it in the beginning. Because like you were saying, like there was no clear motive. Like I think there's blinders on sometimes with agents because they're so desperate to get a sale and make that money that all they're thinking about is leads and closings, leads and closings, leads and closings. But like, and I love it when people post on social media, they're like, I work for ABC Realty. Who do you work for? It drives me insane because you don't work for any realty or company. You're an independent contractor and you work for yourself. You're associated with or brokered by this company, but you don't work for them. They work for you. That's the way the brokerage is supposed to be. So I feel like if any of you are confused or have no idea what operations looks like in your businesses, that the first thing you want to do is start writing it out. And fun caveat for you, if you haven't used ChatGPT, this is a great place and reason to start using ChatGPT to just open it up and say, my name is ABC. I'm a real estate agent located here. I've never used AI before, but I'd like to get to know you and for you to get to know me and help me write some operations guidelines for my business. And it'll ask you questions and you answer it and go back and forth, and it'll help you develop an operations manual. And I guarantee you there's going to be things in there you didn't even think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And if you want a second set of eyes on that, I'm happy to take a look as well, because I know like ChatGPT is fantastic for when I'm going through and helping agents set up operations manuals so that they can bring someone on, or so that, an admin can work more efficiently for them. But even going through it, like I did one yesterday and I was like, write out an event. What am I trying to say? A timeline of like how to plan an event for this specific community event that this agent is wanting. And it was like 8 weeks before, schedule the venue. And I was like, 8 weeks? No. Like we're doing that 6 months ahead of time. And also who's sponsoring it? Because you're not paying for the event. You need to get some sponsors. So when are we, finding these sponsors? So ChatGPT is fantastic, but it's very basic. It's very entry level, if you will. So if you want a second set of eyes on it to see what you need to add, happy to take a look.
I love it. Lauren, do you have your Calendly link you can pop in here?
Yeah.
So Lauren does like discovery calls where she can dive deeper with you on some of the things that you may need. And, obviously she's open for services. You can always hire her and see if it would be a good fit or not, or hire her team. But that may be something that is your team. If you're growing a team, if you're growing your business, would be something to look into. Now, I just want to say this. If I didn't have support as a new agent, there's no way I would be in the shoes that I'm in right now. And that was either by being on a team or hiring a coach, one or the other. Like individual agents who start on their own, who don't join a team and kind of just get going. It's not saying they can't do it. They can. Plenty of agents have done it, but it usually takes a bit longer for them to figure it out. And so hiring a coach or joining a team is a great way to fast track your success in the industry, in my opinion.
Or
So
both.
what was that?
Or both.
Or both, or both. And a lot of good team leaders are coaches as well. I coach everyone on my team, probably not as deeply as a coach that they would hire and pay for, but I do spend time with everyone on my team and coach everyone on my team. Thank you, Lauren. So she put her email on there, her Instagram, and her Calendly link, or calendar app, Google link.
Yes.
Perfect. I love it.
I think Hannah wanted to say something.
Oh, go for
I'm
it, Hannah.
sorry. I was just going to say I'm one of those stubborn people. I've been a solo agent since day one. And yeah, I've heavily been considering a team just for like the coaching aspect and everything I said before about that I would want with an admin is like learning how to like go after those strangers, as I like to call them more. So yeah, it definitely is harder. I can attest to that, is all I was going to say.
I
And
love it.
slower. I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm with my business, but it's definitely a slower start. But I knew that was going to be the way it was going to be, but slower than I hoped for.
I love it. I mean, and it's true, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all
Yeah.
here. We're all on this
Mhm.
call. We all sell real estate, whether we're new or been in the industry for a while, it doesn't matter. Like, we're here, and that means something.
Agreed.
Okay, so Lauren, why don't you, if there's anything else that you wanted to jump into or talk about, I just want to say thank you to Lauren for jumping on here today because you're actually our first guest on this mastermind. We haven't had a guest help us run the mastermind yet, so I really, really appreciate it. And if there's
Yeah,
any
it feels
parting
special.
thoughts, you can leave with us.
It feels so special. Yeah, if you do bring an admin on, or if you have an admin, just make sure you're pouring into their continued development. And so I have an ops community that I mentioned before, and we do our own weekly masterminds and we do our own accountability, and there's a DOO boot camp to make sure that they're learning those leadership skills. So it was nine total like top ops leaders that I knew that I've kind of developed with over the years, and we just put our heads together to make sure that the ops side has their own little place just like this. So if you have an admin or your future admin, I am inviting you to bring them in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And make sure that you guys reach out to her if you need anything. There are a couple people on this call I know for sure. Y'all need an admin. And I don't care who you hire, y'all need one. You know who you are. I'm looking at you guys. Next week's call is going to be open forum. So next Tuesday at 10, we're just going to open it up. I'll have a couple of questions if nobody wants to talk about anything to kind of get the mastermind going. But whatever anyone wants to talk about, it's open to any. We can dive into any subject that we want. And then moving forward, we're going to start off with best practices week 1, all things marketing week 2, operations week 3, and open forum week 4. So invite your people on the call. I feel like there's probably a person on here that was an invite. And thanks for showing up. I'll post the recording into WorkVivo. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate you.
Thank
Everyone
you.
give Lauren a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lauren.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lauren. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.